In this section, we're going to be talking about the tax considerations in your divorce. So think about, when you're thinking about income taxes, that's generally what we're talking about here. You want to be thinking about past taxes and if any amendments need to be made. All of that needs to be listed in your divorce decree, and future taxes. Now understand that the year you're divorced, if you're divorced before December 31st, then each of you the next tax year that looks back on this one is you're going to have to still file as single. And the question then is, are you going to be filing as single or head of household? And my first piece of advice is make sure you talk to a tax advisor. All of you should be talking to a tax advisor. And I'm not talking about the tax preparers that are only around during tax season. They have a very limited bit of knowledge about this. And tax considerations are a part of your property settlement. And so I want you to be thinking about it. And the question is whether you're going to want to, if your divorce takes longer or manages to bridge, after December 31st and you've been married the entire previous year, are you going to want to put in your divorce decree, because you might be filing for divorce then in January and have it completed in February. And so there's still a consideration of the previous tax year. So you're going to want to think about, are you going to be filing jointly or separately? And another consideration you need to have is, did either of you change your W-4 status during that prior tax year? Because I did have one case, and their case took more than a year to get finalized. And so in the meantime, wife had gone and had changed her W-4 to be single and 10, so virtually nothing was taken out for taxes. And then husband, who had kept it at married and 0, so he essentially paid all the taxes for that year of the parties. And now she wanted to file jointly the next year and wanted half of the refund, when essentially she hadn't paid in any of the taxes during the year. So, and it may not be decided correctly by the court. You can't count on them. So I just want you to be aware of that tax consideration of filing jointly or separately if you're still married and it bridges the next year, and how you want to do it going forward, and if there are any considerations you need to have for any past taxes. And this becomes even more complicated if you haven't filed your taxes yet for that year. Then is there going to be a refund or a liability, and which spouse should be responsible for that liability or the receipt of the refund? Then the only other consideration you need to be thinking about is about dependency exemptions and spousal support. Now, this was made a little easier in 2019, but that law is only in effect until 2024. And that law then said that spousal support now is not taxable to the obligee, and it is not deductible by the obligor. And that they did away with dependency exemptions, although there's child tax credits. So you can see there's an awful lot of tax implications here, and I just simply wanted to make you aware of it. I'm not sure when you're listening to this, and so I can't be giving you any advice about this tax year or that tax year. The best advice I can give you is see a tax professional and find out exactly what it should be going forward and what's in the best interest of your entire family. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And that section is completed. Good luck.